Alright lads, so continuing on with the new character showcases, today we have a new 1000-year Blood War anime version of ISSHIN. This character is an absolute beast, easily one of the best characters in the game right from the get-go, and I'm excited to try him out in today's video. If you did watch my summons though, you'll know I did not actually pull this character. I'm kind of right now waiting for his individual, so massive shout out to my friend Dragon for letting me showcase this ISSHIN on his account. So what makes ISSHIN an amazing character? Well, first up, he is a Mind Swordbear captain with the Quincy kill ability. In the Mind attribute, this is quite noteworthy. Mind as a whole is definitely in a good position, right? They have a lot of great characters. Most people's go-to is 8th Anniversary White and also, of course, 1000-year Blood War Yuha. All three of them have their own different killers, meaning if you have all three of these characters, you can basically use them as your free go-to Mind characters. Whenever you're up against Swordbears, you use White. Whenever you're up against no affiliation and also holo enemies, you use, of course, Yuha, and then whenever you're up against Quincy enemies, you might want to use ISSHIN. But ISSHIN is a character that doesn't really care about killer, to be fair. Now, the reason for that ultimately is his damage output, right? He has a very high damage output with Frenzy +2, a 120% SP boost, which is already insane as is, right? Naturally built in, he has a 50% Berserker, and in that way, that would be perfectly fine, but then he's also the first Mind character in the game to have Rampage. So every kill that he does get, he gets 2% more damage, and of course that does cap out at 100%. This character's damage output is ridiculously high. I would say he's probably the highest, hardest hitting character in the game, one of them at the very least, right? Especially within the Mind attribute. And of course, because he does have that 120% SP boost, having a reliable way to inflict stat summons is important, and he can do just that since he does one have a good SA2, but he does have an increased chance to inflict stat summons against any heart attribute enemy. Understand too that the character itself can inflict lacerate and also burn. That's going to be really good in Guild Quest content, even in Limit Breaker, since it is 2 damage over time stat summons that can deal quite a bit of damage to those enemies that do have a lot of HP. And then when you do decide to use this Soul Bomb, he actually can apply weakening and lacerate, which is it's very rare for us to see a Soul Bomb have a different stat summon apart from the entire kit, but I think that actually works out in his favor, because upon using the Soul Bomb, you're applying weakened defense, you're applying weakening, and then you can just do even more damage. In Guild Quest content, again, it will stop the enemy from doing damage because they're lacerated, they can't use their strong attacks. And then it also means for a very short amount of time, you can then deal 50% more damage. One thing worth mentioning too, we can't test out in today's video, we definitely will be doing it in the future, is that since he is a Mind Swordbear, you can actually use Academy Shuhei to give him 40% more damage to status afflicted enemies and also 20% more strong attack damage. So naturally, in his own way, he's an amazing character. Very high strong attack damage output is going to be the best thing about him. Really good strong attack kit too. But then he also has some really good support in any game mode you want to put him against. So with that said, let's showcase the character, right? First and foremost, since we are taking it into inheritance trials where there are hidden enemies, we are going to be using a Zeta pill, Fortification pill, and of course also an artisanal tea set. For our links, we're going with a mixture of recharge, strong attack damage, and also full stamina, just the standard stuff. And then of course bonus abilities include SP and also long strides. Alright then, so first up, let's just instantly take him into Co-op Inheritance Trials, right? The ultra difficult quest. In this case, our SA1 is going to be a lunge forward. As you can see, with the increased chance, we are very likely to inflict status amounts. But one thing I will say, it feels weird to have like a really good character this good have a lunge SA1. Not complaining about it. Generally, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but we rarely ever see it, especially in 2020 for like 3 onwards. Like really good characters like this get lunge attacks as their strong attacks, especially on their SA1. Usually, as of late, it's been an SA2. But as you can see here, we are absolutely breezing through this without even having killer effect. We don't need killer effect. Let's use the SA1. Let's back up. We do want to keep our distance, right? SA3. This feels powerful. This feels great even. Very smooth, you know, unlike Misaki last showcase that we did do. Night and day difference. Understandable though, they are used for different things. This ISSHIN is more of the conventional broken character of the year, right? That SA3 absolutely nuked through that stage right there. And then our Soul Bomb should also hit relatively hard, right? And it almost did. SA3 or SA2 finishes up. And I gotta say, as I like all the Soul Bombs in this game, right? I like Misaki's. I think ISSHIN has the best sword of the entire year. This might be the best character of the year thus far. Like, he's super, super impressive visually on his strong attacks. It feels weird even to have like an ISSHIN this good. I'm down for it though. And then that sword bomb is absolutely amazing. For our first playthrough right now, we had a 1 minute and 9 second clear time. In co-op IT, ultra IT without even having killer. That's good. That's actually really, really good. And the best part too, in a way kind of similar to Yuha, is that this is going to be common for this character, right? No matter when you use this character in IT, if you want to use him in Inheritance Trials, this is what the playtime is going to look like every time you use him, right? Thanks to the fact that he does have 2 stat summons, in the potential chance in the future where a stage is immune to burn or for some reason lacerate, well, it just doesn't matter because ISSHIN's going to have 2 stat summons to proc. And he isn't tied behind, you know, a certain status summon to do more damage, right? Of course, he wants to inflict the status summon to get the SP boost, but he doesn't do more damage to burned enemies. He doesn't do more damage to lacerated enemies. For the most part, it's just straight raw damage, and you can see there with the strong attacks that he does have, he's absolutely clearing through this quest super fast, right? The only way you can get faster to a certain extent is by having Pierce Iron Skin and a really good strong attack kit, like Senjumaru, or having someone like Yuha who has 2 soul bombs, right? Let's use the SA1. Didn't actually kill it, but that's fine. The SA2 is going to finish up. There we go. I believe at this point, I'm not even keeping track of the Rampage skill that we do have, but I'm pretty sure Rampage has been fully activated, right? Let's go here. Let's use our sub bomb into the final stage, and then we'll finish up with the 3. This is good. And one thing, too, is, like, his kit obviously isn't the best, right? We are very, very, very nitpicking here, just to throw that out there. But, you know, a lunge SA1 is not better than a beam SA1. And then his SA2, I haven't mentioned it just yet. It is a tracking vortex, a homing vortex, one of the best strong attack 2s you can get in the game. But in a way, it's the worst variation of that, as it's not a 960 distant AoE into a tracking vortex. It's a small 750 AoE vortex into another vortex. Again, we are nitpicking here. In a way, this character could have been better had he been given that kit, but as you'll see from this demonstration right now for the 2 runs that we did do, the 2 strong attacks that he does have, the SA1 and 2, it don't matter. A lunge SA1 with this character's damage output is still fine. A lunge SA1 in general is still perfectly good anyway. And in that SA2, while it is the worst variation of a homing vortex, it's still a homing vortex at the end of the day, and it's still a good strong attack nonetheless. I gotta say though, it feels good though. It feels really good. ISSHIN is a character that I haven't been like super fond of. Mainly given that every ISSHIN that we have in game hasn't been the greatest. And I've said this before, right? The character we get in BBS sometimes dictate who I like in this series. If that's weird, I don't know if it is. But like ISSHIN as a character, I've never been like excited to pull for a new ISSHIN. The last time I was excited for a new ISSHIN, of course, was a 1000-year Blood War ISSHIN. And the character was good in his own right when he first released, you know, back in like 2019, right? So it's really cool again, once more, nostalgic even, to see another ISSHIN come out. And of course, the only time we're going to get a good ISSHIN if it's a 1000-year Blood War ISSHIN, right? But at least we get that. If you are an ISSHIN fan, I mean, this is actually a really, really enjoyable gameplay right now. We have taken a hit here, so we have lost a bit of full stamina damage, but in the long run, it doesn't matter, right? Again, if I was to nitpick though, I don't like that this character doesn't have complete status immunity. That's a problem that I have with a lot of really good characters that we are getting. We mentioned it in our most recent video too, that Caleb are definitely... It's weird, right? They're not balancing the damage output these characters have, because this damage output's absolutely crazy. But when it comes to, you know, immunities, they are being really picky on who gets complete status immunity, who gets shed complete status immunity. A lot of these really good characters that are coming out are only coming out of like 1 immunity, which is very weird to see that that's the one thing they're balancing. It's a nitpick, it's not a big of a deal. The status summon that he does have, that he is immune to, is for his respective guild quest, so that's the one you do want to have at the very least. And then you can see in this particular quest too, where, you know, we can easily dodge the burn pause. I don't think we got burnt once, unless it was right at the end. But another quest done, 1 minute and 9 seconds. ISSHIN is an absolute beast. Absolute beast. Next up, though, we're taking ISSHIN into the Ultimate Awakened Epic Raid. In this case, remember, he is a bonus character, a 3 times damage bonus character, and he is also offering an additional 100% medal. So if you do want to farm Epic Raids, ISSHIN is a great character to use. Likewise, farming in the Mind-Only Day is probably the best thing to do, because you're probably going to get a bunch of ISSHINs joining your lobby. With that in mind, for our first run, we are going to do a solo attempt to see how fast we can beat this 23 million HP boss. And with that in mind, we are going to be using these 3 familiars, a good set of shield damage, so we can actually destroy the shields quickly. With Frenzy +2 and a Tracking Vortex, we should do that relatively easy, right? And then we are also getting a bunch of full stamina damage. We're using these 3 accessories, and we're using these 3 soul traits. If we wanted to go the extra mile, we could change the long stride for double weaken defense, so our Soulbomb can do even more damage, but we're going to go as this as is, because I think this is perfectly fine. Alright, so first up, we're going to use the SA2. It is a Tracking Vortex, so you can see it's going to go through the shield really, really quick. Then we're going to use our Soulbomb to apply the SP boost and also weaken defense, right? And I think the hope here is that we can actually get through the first and second phase really, really quick. SA3, 300k damage per hit. You'll have to see it. SA1 does the great amount of damage there, actually. SA2 follows up. If we can apply stats on them, that'd be great. The boss don't even know what to do. The boss don't even know what to do. I think we were just constantly applying lacerate there. It was actually stopping from attacking. And then look at that. Wow. 25 seconds. 25 seconds. That was basically, for the most part, 1 million damage per second. It's the best way to look at it. And that was for our first attempt. Let's try that once more, though. So one thing to keep in mind, too, is that when you have lacerate on your attacks, you can't inflict stats augments when the enemy is attacking. So it's quite noteworthy there that we actually were able to maybe get the SP boost twice. Oh, we got it there. Okay, we'll just go with that. Let's SA2 now. A lot of damage there. Soulbomb into the run. Woo! Okay. Unfortunately, little downtime period here, but the SA2 is going to follow through and then finish up with the 3. That was even faster. That was actually even better. So we got kind of lucky there with the stars on the proc. And that's what I like about this character, right? Despite him having lacerate, which is kind of annoying in epic grade content, given that he does have an increased chance against any hot enemy, anytime you want to use this character in epic grade, he's going to be reliably inflicting stat augments. In this case, lacerate and also burn, which can very slightly pause the enemy from even attacking you, right? All right then, so I opened up the lobby. Unfortunately, no other ISSHINs to join us, right? But it's fine. I mean, we saw that ISSHIN's already good enough as is, right? And one thing we can do is, again, use our summon right away. That will apply the SP boost. But it also, as you can see there, allows all our team to do 30% more damage. So I'm going to save my SA2. White used their Soulbomb. Look at that. Okay. Almost went through the entire final phase there. And then we might as well save the SA2 for that. And we actually cleared even faster, 19 seconds there. So yeah, Mind Only Day is going to be even better. Most people in this lobby were autoing. That's fine, I allowed it. But with that, 18-second clear time. And obviously, since we did have a bunch of links or characters on the lobby, we were also getting a good amount of medals, links or potions, and also droplets. Not too bad. Not too bad. And then last up, let's take ISSHIN into the current Limit Breaker quest. So to no one's surprise, he's going to be obviously very, very good. He was designed for this game mode after all. In slot 1, he gets all the damage bonuses. And I truly believe this is a character that you can use in any month of Limit Breaker whenever the rules do somewhat align with this character. His damage output is obviously high enough to carry you in situations where he isn't getting all the damage bonuses, but right now, he's honestly a very fun character to use in this current Limit Breaker quest. The strong attack kit that he does have, unironically, a Beam SA1 isn't bad here. It does lunge him forward and it actually provides some fun and fast gameplay. One thing I will say though that is kind of weird for a character released for Limit Breaker, besides the lack of Poise Break, which is something that every Limit Breaker character does lack, and I feel like it would have been really good here on this character, especially because he does have a Tracking Vortex. There are situations where if you get too close to the enemies, they might actually get out of the Tracking Vortex, but for ISSHIN it wasn't that big of a deal. But he was given the Poise skill, which I guess in some cases can help you out, but it's not really that needed in this character. With Misaki, it's definitely noteworthy given that she does have the barrage attack. So I'm really not a big fan of ISSHIN in particular getting the Poise skill. Poise Break or Long Stride would have been a lot more ideal here because that would have been more beneficial for the content he's designed for. Not like it makes him worse in this game mode, but it is something just worth mentioning. But his damage output is high as is, that he's able to go through these quests super fast, even in cases where this current Limit Breaker quest does have more stamina on the enemies. Even when what, like stage 25 plus, we're still clearing his stages ridiculously fast. Especially if you do pair him with someone like Yuha, where he then gets all his strong attacks back the next time the character is available. Now, one of the cooler parts that I do like about the character is that his Soul Bomb can't actually apply Lacerate and Burn. Instead, it's Lacerate and Weakening, and that's really good in Limit Breaker, because when you do decide to use your Soul Bomb, not only are you applying Weakened defense, you're also applying Weakening, where you're then doing 50% more damage, on top of, again, the 30% that Weakened defense does do. It could have just strictly been Burn and Lacerate, which, again, wouldn't be a bad thing, because the Lacerate and Burn combination that he does have here, in Limit Breaker, when these enemies have a ridiculous amount of HP, it's doing a lot of damage over time from those two status elements. But I think having weakening instead of burn on the summon is actually beneficial here, because again, it just means you do more damage on your strong attacks, which is already high as is. Weakening isn't nerfed in Limit Breaker, so it's really cool, and in a way rare to see us get the full effect, full damage bonus from a weakening status summon, and ISSHIN definitely takes advantage of that. I like that his damage output is consistent. Obviously, it is tied behind inflicting his stats to get the SP boost, but you will see that's definitely not an issue. None of his skills here are reliant on inflicting stats elements. Like, he doesn't have a skill that does more damage to stats afflicted enemies. So his damage output across the board is just very consistent, especially with that Rampage skill, which again, you get very easily. And man, is it just fun to clear these quests super, super fast. Overall, a very good character in this current Limit Breaker quest. How usable will he be in the future is yet to be known, but I'd say given his damage output and strong attack kit, he's going to be the fairly reliable character. So with that said, lads, that was the video for today, trying out the new 1000 year Blood War version of ISSHIN. Man, is this character great? Is this character great? I shouldn't be surprised, but in a way, I kind of am. I mean, to be fair, it is the first time in 2024 that we are seeing a character get the Rampage skill, and it's about time. It's an amazing skill. Rampage, Frenzy +2, 50% Berserker, and a 120% SP boost is absolutely insane with the strong attacks this character does have. Visually, the character looks great. I'm kind of excited more so for the fact that it's actually an ISSHIN character, and I do think ISSHIN is coolest in the 1000 year Blood War arc. Really do love the Everything But the Rain arc. Love that we finally got a new banner of these two characters, Misaki and also ISSHIN, and now with that, you can also make a full team with 8th Anniversary White, so the trio is now completed. But yeah, I don't think this character really has anything bad about him per se. You can have your nitpicks, No Beam SA1, the Homing Vortex isn't the best variation of that. That's the really only big nitpick you can say. Maybe the fact that he doesn't have a Poise Break, that's something that I nitpick on every Limit Breaker character though, to be fair. But he's essentially almost perfect, right? He has a good killer, he's in a good attribute in my opinion, amazing damage output, and given that he is a Suriper, again, you are able to get the benefit of someone like Academy Shuhei. The Melee Quincy Guild Quest hasn't needed a new really good character. HB has been good enough, but this ISSHIN is basically the easy go-to cheat code for the Melee Quincy Guild Quest, which again, we will showcase ISSHIN in the coming weeks when that Guild Quest does come back. In my opinion, ISSHIN is definitely the one to go for in this banner. If you have him, congratulations, I'm jealous. I don't have him on my main, and right now I'm kind of tempted to summon on the individual banner. We'll have to see how it does go. I think this character has a lot of usability. You can generally use him wherever you want to, even in Arena. If you're an ISSHIN fan, this character is definitely someone to go for. Either way, let me know your opinion of the character in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, and peace.